Hi, everyone, and welcome to HR Development Day here at HR Week 2022. I hope you had a good wake up with Adeline Loy, and now we're going to expert talks and a totally different format. So, we're talking about design thinking today, and it might not be a new methodology, but it's certainly an innovative one. And I'm very happy that I have Aleksandra and Dušan joining us today to talk about more about the design thinking in HR. How are you guys? Is everything okay?
Hello, great.
Amazing.
Perfect.
Okay, so the stage is yours. I'll be back in 25 minutes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Masha. So, hello, everybody. Before we start, I would like to say happy birthday to Nevena Stanisavljević, the founder of HR Week. Actually, she's the lady who is behind all of this and actually the one who helped us to be here, to join together and to speak about all these interesting things. So, Nevena, happy birthday once again, and I wish you a lot of these kind of successful events in the future. And since it's 9:25 a.m. in the morning here in Belgrade, Aleksandra and myself, we thought that it's too early basically for the typical or classical presentation. So we will do something that we always do when we meet, or almost always. We will chat and chit-chat about design thinking and how we can implement it in different areas, but especially in the field of HR. So good morning, Aleksandra. How are
Morning,
you?
Dušan. Very good, very good. Coffee
Yeah.
is with me here.
Perfect.
We can start
Also,
our chat.
same here. So let's do like we do it all the time. We speak about design
Yeah.
thinking. We speak about how to implement it, about some new ideas. And since both of us are in the field of HR, of course, this is the focus. But something that I actually never asked you is we met 1 year ago, something a little more than this, and we met at the first training, Design Thinking, organized by Talks&Folks with Milovan Dekic and Marko Jevtic, who are authors of the book. But I never asked you actually, what was your motivation? How come you came to the training?
Yeah. Thank you for asking me that right now because it's a quite interesting story. That's true. We met on our first design thinking training, and 2 years ago, so even before that, I was searching for methodology, framework, approach that can help me to revive beginner's mind. I was obsessed with beginner's mind because being in this industry for quite some time, designing trainings, L&D processes, experiences related to L&D, I figured out that I have the tendency looking at the things always from the same perspective. Okay, not always from the same, but similar perspective. So I was searching for something that can help me to shift the angle from which I'm observing things. And then while I was researching, of course, design thinking popped up here and there, but I was not quite sure whether it's for me because I had a prejudice that design thinking gives for, as name would suggest, designers,
Yeah.
people who are designing products. And I'm more in experiences, designing experiences, services. So I was not really sure is that for me. Then when you announced that training with Marko and Milovan, we met over there. And then from the very first day, I figured it out. Yes, it is for designing services and products. So what I learned over there, basically, you can use design thinking in everything that involves uncertainty. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Only in processes that are really straightforward. You have to go from A to B, from position A to B, and following the like steps, to
Mm-hmm.
reach your goal. You don't need the design thinking over there. It's a waste of resources. But everywhere else, whether it's the product or service or experience, yes, it can be beneficial.
And
So
people are usually connecting design thinking with IT, right? So I remember that you asked also, is there going to be anyone from the HR
yes.
beside me at the training? There were people from IT, from HR, from marketing, I believe. So really
Yeah.
a mix of people, yeah.
Yeah. I was very concerned. I remember when I signed up for the training, I signed up, but I called one of your assistants, Anita. Hey, Anita, is there anyone else from HR beside me? She said, relax, there's another one
Yeah.
beside you from HR. But yeah, I met people from different areas and even from NGO sector as well. So they are also designing some processes and experiences. So yeah, it's
Yeah.
not only for designing products.
It's quite universal thing. And now the fourth generation, we had, I think, 6 or 7 people from HR, and actually we had people from media, and we had also people from NGO, and of course engineers and so on. So it's
Mhm.
quite universal thing, right?
Yeah, yes, I agree. But I never asked you how come you got interested in design thinking methodology.
Well, it's like usually the good thing starts totally unannounced. So Marko Jevtic, one of the authors and one of the trainers, is a friend of mine from childhood. And actually, when he wrote the book, he brought the book to me. He signed it, and he said, read this. It's a very good thing. And of course, everybody will say this for their own book. But then I read it, and I got interested in the whole approach because I'm working a lot, not just in the field of HR. I'm working a lot with management teams about strategies, business strategies, and also redefining business, the whole process. And actually, then I saw that it's actually a very good process because you already have some of the inputs that you're doing, you have already in design thinking, but there are some other tools, there is some other way of thinking that you can approach and basically that you can use in this way. So then I saw that design thinking is something which is quite universal, as you are saying. So you can implement it like everywhere. I didn't actually meet the area where you cannot implement design thinking. But especially in HR, it looks as something which is refreshing regarding all the processes that we know, everything that we are doing from day-to-day basis, but then to put something new, to add some kind of different view in it, which would help us to make a difference, especially for the employees. And I remember your article that you wrote for the HR World magazine. Actually, it was the most read article there in that month. So you wrote a lot about this, including other people in design thinking process without them knowing the methodology itself.
Yeah, that's correct. I was also surprised when they announced that it's one of it's the most read article in that month, and actually I figured out that people in HR are either interested in this design thinking methodology, or even if they don't know what is design thinking, maybe to the deepest details, they are or we are interested in new approaches. So we need something new that can help us to have that beginner's mind, or to switch a little bit the perspective, to something that can help us to be innovative. Yeah. And yeah, in that article, I explained my experience with design thinking. I can just briefly tell you
Yeah,
about it.
sure. Perfect.
It was the end of one of the leadership academies, and the central theme was coaching. So almost 100 of our leaders went through that academy. They were trained in coaching skills. But then when academy was finished, the new question arose. Now what? Yeah. So we needed to do something to start building coaching culture, to work on sustainability of coaching culture. And then, of course, HR sat down. We said, okay, we already have like a dozen of solutions, because in HR we function like that. You give us a problem or a challenge, we give you a
Exactly.
solution immediately. But then we said, okay, maybe this is not the best way to do it, because yeah, we designed solutions without putting our users or our employees, those people who have to build the coaching culture, yeah, in the center of that design. So this is how actually we started using design thinking. And that's our start. But there's another interesting thing that happened during that process. Basically, in one of the phases, we did brainstorming. Yeah, and we all know what is brainstorming. So I invited my colleagues HR professionals to that session. I invited experts in the field, so professional coaches, and I invited my colleague software engineers. So all of them said yes, except software engineers, because their initial thought was another brainstorming session, another waste of our time. So they were not that enthusiastic regarding that. They were not that open regarding that. But from the very first first 10 minutes into the session, I saw the change in their attitude. Yeah.
Mhm.
So they started opening up. They started collaborating. They started building up on each other ideas, and it motivated me to think about one thing. I know that you worked a lot with building organizational cultures.
Mhm.
So, what do you think? Is there any link between design thinking and organizational culture? I mean, I saw it on a small scale on that
Yeah.
brainstorming session, but what is your opinion about that?
Actually, I think there is a strong link. Actually, there are two links as I see it. The first one is, and also we got a question like to give example of using design thinking to create any process in HR. And I think that you just gave one or two actually. But here is another one, just light because we don't have so much time. It's about creating also company culture change project through design thinking, because basically what do you have there? You have some needs, but you have some needs from the business side and you have some needs from the people side or employee side, and then we always, as you said, we assume what people need or what business need and what kind of culture. And basically what companies defined, values that they would like to have as part of as the ground for the company culture, they usually use the same or similar values. It's about efficiency, openness, teamwork, and so on and so on. But basically, this is something that we assume that the business needs and the people need. But through design thinking, we can design the whole process. We can do in a very specific and very, let's say, punctual way to measure the needs. We can also classify them. We can select the most important one. We can do it with the tools from the design thinking, and then to go to the process of the ideation. And what I like the most actually about the whole process is design thinking is focusing more on using examples from different industries.
Mm-hmm.
So I remember the example from the training, when I think Milovan spoke about waiting for the elevator to come, or at the airport in the line. So how to solve this problem, So you don't take the solution from the other airport. I mean, you can, but it's not always the best one. But you take solution, for example, from Disney World, how they solved waiting in the line, and having fun and also enjoying by the people. So they say, I was enjoying waiting in the line. So it's totally different mindset, which is used in other industries. And also using this when we speak about corporate culture. So what kind of culture would you like to have? Like, I don't know, Disney, like, I don't know, Coca-Cola, like some special company, Zappos or whatever. And then you see like what can be taken according to the needs of the employees. And which is very important in the design thinking process, it's about testing. So we just push the new culture or the culture that we would like to have. We just promote it, do the kickoff and everything. But we don't do the testing before that. We don't do the small scale testing to see if it really works and does it fit the needs that we already have, or we need to change something before we make the final solution about the company culture. And just to add something else, like the other sides or the other way how I think that design thinking fits the company culture, it's about the values, so if you use design thinking, you bring some values totally spontaneously, like for example, flexibility, innovation, inclusion, empathy, openness, solution focus, and so on. So many of those which companies define as something they would like to have as values and part of the company culture. Through design thinking, you bring it in such a natural way, because in order to implement design thinking, you need to work on all these values. You need to put people together to work according to those values, and then you get actually the result.
Yeah, I agree. And just to add up a little bit, we got a question to examples of how to use design thinking to create any process in HR. So beside what you said, also we can use it in designing a candidate experience journey. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of, put the candidate in the middle of that design. Yeah, figure it out what is logical for them, what they want to get from that journey, and make a design around that. Yeah, whatever is
Exactly.
logical for them, they will do it. And nowadays we know that all right, so salary and benefits are all, that's the standard. Yeah, but also experience that candidate has with the company in the hiring process will greatly influence his or her decision whether he or she wants to join the company or not. The same thing with employee experience journey.
Sure.
Or
Comp and Ben also, right?
yeah.
So that's something that people need, like and again, the example like about health insurance for the employees. So if you have really young employees, and you give them health insurance, well, they will see as a benefit, but it's not the most important one. But it was interesting then in one of the projects where design thinking was used, actually, they got insights about the needs. And so there was like, we don't need health insurance for ourselves. We need health insurance for our parents, Yeah. So that's something which you get through design thinking process, like going deeper and deeper in the need. So not just, okay, we need this, and okay, you need that, let's give it to you. It's too light, But if we go deeper, we get the real insights about the needs of the people, employees, clients, candidates, and whatever. So basically, this is how we build it. And just to be clear, like design thinking is not something which is revolutionary and something which is totally new and totally different. I mean, every process that we design is actually, we use some kind of design thinking, right? But design thinking as a methodology approach and the set of tools is actually something that gives us the structure really to go from the beginning till the end, following some, rules or guidelines, better to say guidelines, and then to get some amazing results basically from something that we thought that it's like something that we do every day and cannot be changed a lot, right?
You know what else I like about design thinking? Because it's really simple to apply.
Yeah.
You don't need months to apply it. So the whole process you can apply in 5 days. It has 5 phases, so each phase in 1 day, and we call that thing we call like a design sprints.
Design sprint, yeah.
Yeah, and also you don't need to wait for the entire organization to adopt this kind of thinking. You can do on your small. You can use this way of thinking. I would say way of thinking, and this methodology, these methods on your daily job in your small projects.
Yeah,
it's very applicable.
And last time when we spoke, you mentioned one saying that says like design thinking, it's not more about...
Yeah, design thinking is less about thinking, but more about doing.
Exactly. So it's like every other skill, like you need to implement it in order really to work, to get some kind of result and insight. So basically, there is always a question if design thinking is just for products. And here in the HR, it's not about products so much. I mean, you can have some product, you can make some kind of a platform or app or something like this, but it's more about services. And it is important probably to say that it works amazingly for services also. So whatever process we have, like, is it administration process? Is it, as we said, comp and ben? Is it recruitment, employee experience, and so on? Basically, L&D. So that's some kind of a process, and which is really good is you can adapt it all the time. It's flexible. So once you make it, it's not like, okay, we made it and that's it for the next 1 or 2 years. So design thinking gives us opportunity to change some small part of the process, which makes the biggest difference actually and gets the biggest result. for us, whatever there is. Yeah.
Yeah, I completely agree with that.
We'll have the opportunity to speak more about it actually in the end of February. So Aleksandra and myself, we will have a first design thinking training in HR. So we are announcing this for the end of February. So if you're interested to know more about design thinking in HR and also to know in which areas it can be implemented, and most importantly, how it can be implemented. So come to the training. So let us create together some of the new processes in HR through design thinking methodology, because it's like a lots of fun. It's really a lot of different papers, a lot of different processes, a lot of different tools. Hi, Masha.
Here I come. So thank you guys for sharing everything about design thinking. I gotta say, this is not product placement, but I was participating in the design thinking training here at Talks&Folks, and I had an amazing experience. So whoever's interested in it, I think that's a great choice.
Thanks,
I have
Masha.
a question for Aleksandra and Dušan as well. The question is, could you give examples of how you use design thinking to create any process in HR? So maybe something specific from the industry or what you actually implemented within your organization.
Well, I explained everything in that article. I just gave like in-depth explanation how I used in creating one of the L&D processes. So we also gave example of candidate experience journey or comp and bands. So I don't know if you need more, tell us.
Yeah, and actually, just to add something shortly, so we had a question maybe a couple of weeks ago from a client who is in production industry, So there was a question, so we need to do something in the process of production. What can we do regarding HR processes in this area? Because for them, it's like already defined from the level of the group and so on. But they can do amazingly good things, because there are small things which makes the biggest difference, which we do for a lot of years, in the same way. Through design thinking, we redefine the process. We don't create it once again, but we check the most critical aspects and we create amazing solutions.
Amazing. Thank you guys for sharing the response. I'm gonna just quickly reference to the HR World magazine and the article that Aleksandra wrote about design thinking. So to whomever actually wrote the question, I think you should go to our website and check the article out. Guys, thank you much for sharing everything, and see you very soon. Bye.
See you, Masha. Thank you.